Good evening. This is Penelope Flynn, co-host and moderator of Discussions from the Other Hood. I am here this evening with the Blerdsassins Next Door, Nikki, Sonia, and Cranston. And tonight we're going to discuss the outcomes from the Emmys. And I know that was a while back, but I think it's time, a good enough amount of time has passed for us to have digested it and to discuss what these mean. But for the moment, we're going to talk about the weather. And first off, Nikki, you're top right up here. How's your weather?
It's been rainy all day today, on and off
Really?
today. Yes. So, it's been rainy and it'll be rainy for the rest of the week. Not the rest
How,
of the week until Friday, Thursday or Friday.
so what's the temperature though?
Oh, the temperature is like today it was not hot and it was nice. Like in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how about you, Sonia? How's it going up there in Rochester area? I do not, you're not muted, but I don't hear you. I thought I heard you earlier, but maybe not. Not plugged in, but it doesn't show that you're muted. So just maybe turn down. Cranston, can we hear you? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, while Sonia is trying to figure out why the media companies will not allow her to speak, tell us about your weather up there, I guess, in that general area.
It has been, I guess it lets you know that fall is really here. It is
Mm-hmm.
cooler in the
Mm-hmm.
nights, and I don't think it broke 90 all week. And we
Wow.
only had rain a couple of days, so it's been more or less pleasant
Okay, cool.
ish.
So what about the so-called, what do you call it, the hurricane that you'll have coming possibly you all's way? No one, I
This
think.
we really don't know because they hype it up so much to make sure you pay attention, and they love to put up these tracking charts
Mm-hmm.
that are
Mhm.
multicolored, and they always say, "Well, this is the path it may take, and it may hit you, and it might not." So it's more of that. So we've been really lucky that they have the storms have passed us by, but we don't really know until um, like a day before it's supposed to hit if it will hit or not. So
Okay. S- So when is it scheduled to hit, so to speak?
I don't know. It's still somewhere I think out in the Gulf, and so they don't know which way it's going to turn up to come
Mm-hmm.
back and forth. So we don't know. The big story that they kept hitting us with
Now
was
we're
the
hearing
long.
Sonia.
Yeah.
Now we're hearing Sonia breathing
Yay!
down. All right. So we have possible being in your area, but not sure until probably what, another day or so.
No, they're
Yeah,
saying that it's
the
supposed to
big thing
hit.
that they were telling us about was the longshoreman strike and the stock up on perishables and toilet paper. So
Okay.
And
And
they
so what did
say
you say,
that the
Nikki?
storm they say the storm is supposed to hit Wednesday.
Wednesday and going through the middle of the
We
state,
don't
right?
we don't know where it's going now, Penelope, to
Okay.
be honest.
Okay. Well, hopefully by tomorrow we'll have
Yes,
better information.
yes. But they say
Yeah.
Wednesday. I'm hoping it'll hit, like, if it does hit, I'm hoping it'll hit Wednesday night. So that means early Wednesday morning I can go to dialysis and
All
hurry
right.
up back home.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that we know something so I know what my travel plans will be.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
do intend to be traveling during that period, but I don't want to be traveling, while there's
Oh
hurricanes
no,
and
there
stuff
won't be. I
coming.
mean, they say the best time to travel. They're saying it's like until Monday. So if you come,
Until Monday.
yeah, Monday's a good day. Final day is Monday.
Ye-
Final day.
Yes, but then I have to actually go back.
By the time it's
But I
time
have
for
to
you
go
to go
back.
back, it'll be gone by the time it's time for you to go back. So
We don't know. So we're gonna find out. Because I don't
Personalized
want to
weather.
be like, having things happen to me and stuff.
you'll
Yeah,
be able to
absolutely.
get out.
All right. Well, Sonia, you're back.
Yeah, I'm
And
back.
how's your weather?
It's nice and clear today. It's
And so,
been drizzling, but it's supposed to get down into 40s tonight, and then up again to the 70s, and then down to the low 40s, and until it decides to settle down. It's cold season, in other words.
Mm.
right. So it's just gonna start dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping
Yeah,
now.
up and down, but not as high up and a little lower down.
Didn't it just warm up there last week?
Yeah, it sure did. And now 42.
And now they want to do something else. They want to do something different now.
They think they're Florida. Look outside. The weather
Spice it up a
changes
little
every
bit.
5 minutes.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah, yeah. There they go. All right. So I know Otto has not yet joined us, but this is an issue that he kind of started thinking about with regard to, of course, the Emmy Awards and all these great performances that we saw over the past year. Actually, I guess we should say the past 2 years, right? Because we had the writer's strike, so I guess they had a double up, Emmys. So number one, I guess, do we think that having a double up year on the Emmys was fair, to all those who were participating? And number two, did we think that the Emmys, the outcome of the Emmys this year seemed what we thought it would be? So I just want to put it out there because, some of us are avid television watchers. Others are, also, not as avid television watchers, but do watch some of these shows that did come up for the Emmys. Or maybe to explain to some of us who don't know why certain shows uh, rose and others did not, or certain actors within shows either failed to be nominated or didn't win. So, um, Otto, I guess you're checking in now, and we're just getting ready to start with the discussion. But of course, to give you a window to discuss the weather.
It's good. It's actually like normal. It feels like fall for this part of the world. So it's like mid
All right.
80s. It's sunny.
Well, I thought it
Very
was
dry.
hot. I thought it was hot.
It's very dry.
Yeah, yeah, just true. All right, you all. We're going to talk a little bit about the Emmys, and Otto, I would like you to start us off with a conversation that we were having regarding the Emmys and what you thought about the Emmys. I mean, I started out explaining that we had that double up year because of the writer's strike, and whether that's fair to the people who were up for nomination during the period of the writer's strike, because of course people can forget those performances and forget what happened, and instead preferring the performances that are most recent in mind and giving those previous, the 2023 people, kind of short shrift. Also, with regard to some of the winners, does anybody know, some of these? Had anybody watched these? And were these shows um, actually deserving of these awards? Now, we understand, as we have often been told by Cranston,
This
that
car is
these
bad.
are, I don't know, okay, that these are industry awards. And so this is a television, their Academy, their awards. So I guess to some extent we got to defer to them, who is they select for whatever reason. But, also there is some amount of weight that should be given to those of us who actually watch the shows, because that's the point, to put out something that we will actually watch and enjoy. So this year, I guess the thing that kind of first caught our attention was the nominations for like Outstanding Comedy Series. And the winner of that was Hacks. When the previous years, it had been, I believe, Abbott Elementary. And the nominees were Abbott for this past year, for 2024, were Abbott Elementary, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Hacks, Only Murders in the Building, Palm Royale, Reservation Dogs, The Bear, and What We Do in the Shadows. So we thought it was kind of interesting that Hacks, I mean, and I have to be honest, I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
And has
I
anybody
heard a
else
lot
seen it?
about it.
Has anyone seen it other than us not having seen it?
No,
No.
it's one of those shows that you hear good things about, and you promise you're going to watch it, but then you never know when it's on, and so you don't. Um, and I have to admit that this year I usually keep up with these things, and
Mhm.
because usually you don't have the Emmys this late in the year. But when the time when you have to make a choice between Sunday Night Football and the Emmys,
Mhm.
was kind of bad. They I guess they couldn't put it off any longer, but
Mhm.
still, it was you're in that kind of competition, so
Right. So I mean, I spoke to my older sister who informed me that she had watched Hacks and that she said that she liked it. Not so she liked it more than Abbott Elementary. She said, well, yes, she did, but having to admit that she had only watched like one episode of Abbott Elementary. So how can you make that distinction?
hmm
And
What is the show about?
I don't know. None of us watches it. I mean, we can go to IMDb and see what it is
it's
that
a
they
show
say.
that I can't remember the younger actor's name, but the older actor is played by Gene Smart, who did win Best Actor. And it's about that Gene Smart owns this company that the some sort of semi-tech company, and it's there. It's kind of like a female version of what was the one that T.J. Miller was on? That was a similar thing about the tech thing going on. So
Silicon Valley?
yeah,
No.
Silicon Valley. Yeah, it's
Okay.
like a female version of Silicon Valley, kind of.
Okay. It says
The
explores the
description,
dark
yeah.
mentorship that forms between Deborah Vance, a legendary Las Vegas comedian, and an entitled outcast 25-year-old. So that's the very broad statement given by IMDb. There
And
can
they're
be
in the
more specific.
what are they in? They're doing online companies or something. What are they doing?
I have no idea. I've never seen it.
Because usually the word hack means like someone who's a bad journalist, right?
Hmm.
It also means
Yeah,
a comedian, a hacky comedian.
a hack.
Certain term. Uh, a term in comedians, if he's a hack, he's not a really. He doesn't really use his own material.
Well, yeah, this is someone who's a hack. Generally, in
Right.
writing and stuff, they
But
are.
they use
Yeah.
it a lot, and I've heard of comedians talk a lot using that phrase.
But this show's about neither one of those, right?
Yeah, she's a comedian. Jean
Oh,
Smart
she's a
plays a
comedian.
comedian. Hmm.
She's a comedian who steals other people's jokes.
I think so.
Well, that sounds funny.
I think I'd have to
An
see it.
insult. A comedian describes someone who's not as great at what they do, especially writing.
Yeah, it's a hack. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've never seen
she's
it.
not.
So
Evidently, she's not as great a comedian as she thinks she is.
or that her writers aren't as good as they think they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gene Smart. Okay. Yeah. So there we
Well,
go.
we've all experienced that.
Yes.
I think the show it butts up against is Abbott Elementary, and there's so many different aspects of that show characters that some of us can relate to. Of course,
Yeah.
it's silly and hyperbolic,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of it, normal people can relate to having kids, being a kid, going to school,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with teachers,
Yes.
or teachers dealing with shortages of supplies. It's always a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought it was going to be a horrible show, making fun of not the Philadelphia school system, but
But the
kids.
children within the
Yeah,
system.
I wasn't interested in that.
Yeah, me
But then
either.
it turned out to be that at all.
Mhm. Yeah, I really liked the show, and I was a little surprised that it was unseated by this show called Hacks. But since none of us has actually seen it, we really don't know. So maybe that should be a thing on our to-do list, is actually watch an episode or two of it and see whether or not it holds our attention and is something that we can
But
say,
you know
well,
what
yeah,
though, Penelope,
mm-hmm,
I haven't seen the show.
mm-hmm,
I never do this, but
mm-hmm,
I don't think you should downgrade a show because without seeing it.
right,
But I get the feeling that a lot of the people who voted for Hacks
mm-hmm.
also did not watch Abbott Elementary.
I'm tending to agree with you because it reminds me of that situation where I can't remember who it is that said it, but they were asking Jessica Tandy whether or not she had seen was it Do the Right
Do the,
Thing,
do the right thing. Yeah.
and she said no, she hadn't seen it. So how in the world is she going to vote for something she hadn't seen? And then a lot of people just have name recognition. Gene Smart, oh, I know who that is, you know, and vote, based on that.
And
But
maybe
again, my older sister said that she liked the show, so I don't know.
well, let me ask you this:
I,
your older sister,
Mm.
what do you think attracted her to watch the show in the first place?
I think somebody recommended it, and then she saw it. She said she could identify with a lot of things that were going on with an individual woman of a certain age that she could identify with. So maybe a lot of it is that as well. That there are a
There's
lot of
a
women.
age demographic thing
Yeah.
because
yeah.
Abbott Elementary skews younger. Although you got Shirley Ralph on there,
That's
and
right.
some other people on there.
Yeah, I mean it's an ensemble piece with a lot of age groups represented in it.
Well, I think I went through the list and I found out they give out a lot of awards. I mean, a lot of awards.
Yeah, yeah.
And and I mean they have and the thing that got me was they give out awards for like makeup and for makeup and hair and that sort of thing, and they make it for contemporary, historical, and then a separate category for science fiction and fantasy for each group. So there are like 9
Wow.
awards in that for that one thing that goes back and forth. And I think what it was to me, I said it was the winner of whoever did the best publicity, because the same people won for everything.
Everything. Well, that's interesting. That I guess, and it could be that they sent out the proper amount of what do you call those little things? The
Screeners
for everyone to read or to listen to their
for your
view
consideration.
their
Screeners, yeah.
Yeah, but
view them
to
and
me,
see whether they liked it or
yeah, but
not.
there's no scenario where, at least I'm aware of, that Gene Smart turns in a better performance than Quentin Brunson, especially
Quentin Brunson, yeah.
the last
Oh
season,
yeah.
Abbott
Yeah,
Elementary.
I thought it was really great.
Well, it could be the thing that, I think I first became aware of Jean Smart back during Designing Women.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember she had that run. I think she was on 24 for 2 seasons or something like that. So it could be that this is sort of like that valedictory lap thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
should have won for this, you should have won for that, but we're going to give it to you for
yeah.
this.
Oh no, she won awards for all those too.
But I mean,
It's
but I think the issue is that in my mind, what I think is that people know the name. She's been around for a while, even if they had not really seen that show, since they know that she's been in all these other shows and she is a known, product. That of course, they roll in that in favor of that. So I can see that they know it's just a known entity, and
okay.
therefore that's what they roll with.
I did some more research to find out more about the premise. It's and found a description that says as Deborah, who's Jean Smart's character, career begins to wane, she realizes she needs to adapt her material to appeal to a younger audience. Ava, on the other hand, is struggling from the fallout from an insensitive tweet that has jeopardized her career. Their unlikely partnership forces them to confront their differences and ultimately leads to personal growth for both characters. So it sounds like they're also, hey, we're making fun of ourselves. Let's give them an award.
Hmm,
See, we're
possibly, yeah.
hip. We know what's going on.
Understood. All right. So, I mean, again, it's just a hard one to talk about because none of us has actually seen the show. So we can't tell whether we liked it or not. And I guess I didn't ask Nikki, I guess, did you ever watch this show? Because I know, um, possible, ever seen it?
No. Uh-uh. Nope.
Okay, so there we go. Nikki also has never seen the show. But, and
Mm-mm.
also, I guess it's a demographics thing also. It's like, is this the type of show that generally is going to attract a black audience because are there any black people in it? Are there any black actors that we would specifically look at? I mean, it's a drama. Who do we like dramas? Yes, we like dramas. Comedies? Yes, we like comedies. But um, do we
But
like
you
the
know,
type
black
of
black
comedy?
women,
I don't know what the
black
type of
women,
comedy is. Yes.
black women are like, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but they're new to the comedy audience facing um, part. You had Leslie Jones and people like that in there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the
It's a
the
broad.
the
It's
actor.
been broadened by shows like Abbott
Yeah,
Elementary.
it's
Yeah,
like more that
has
they look or
broadened
lack
that
of looks or they look
category
funny,
of
or they're
comedy
big or
with
they have
know,
a certain weight or something or
yeah, or that you can be funny. So I think that's it doesn't have to be something that I got to go through these people in the cast of Hacks, but to see how it is that black people even portrayed. I don't know. I've never seen it, but I know
I
in
only saw
Abbott
two
Elementary there's
black
some
characters.
problematic. Yeah. So
Well,
I mean, I know
looking
in Abbott
at
Elementary
the
there are some problematic people, but all of them, I mean, they balance off each other very well. Some, snarky, irritating, some smart, some, crazy, zany people. And basically, it is an ensemble cast and a diverse kind of ensemble cast. But this other show, I'm not so sure. But again, if I'm not, in the that demographic that they're looking to attract, then that's just the way it is, right?
and they're on I think they're on HBO, so that makes it like maybe give it a higher stature.
And then because Abbott Elementary's ABC.
Yeah,
Well, and in the drama
it's
series,
on
for
it's on
instance,
free. It's
it
on
has
free TV.
again, right, free TV. Yeah, but I would think even with that people, well, it doesn't matter what people watch, right? It matters only what the industry insiders are voting for, correct? And maybe this is what the industry people want the public to view them as. This type of show, this is the type of personalities and issues that they want to be associated with. I mean, previous 2 years ago it was Abbott Elementary, etc., but now it's something else. What do you think?
Well, no, because I was looking at some of the other shows that won. It seems like the same five shows won everything. The biggest winner of the night was, and that was, it looks like everything except for one thing that they got nominated for that they didn't win, but the biggest winner seemed to be Shogun.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one that got the biggest hype and everything, but they
Right.
just took up awards for everything. If there was the most obscure category that you could think of for whatever they could be nominated
Mhm.
for, they won. Another show that seemed to win everything it was nominated for was The Bear.
Yes.
Um, that won
And didn't
everything.
that win last year or the year
That
before?
one that cleaned up last year too.
Yeah. And but this year, those awards atop the comedy things went to Hacks, correct?
Yeah.
And
But
so
the bear was listed as a drama this year, wasn't it?
Which one?
No, the
Bear,
bear was listed as a
a
comedy.
comedy,
Yeah.
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 I
So
don't understand why.
Hollywood has a really hard time defining drama and separating hour-long shows, drama and comedy, like
Mhm.
only Murders in the Building
Mhm.
and The Bear. They want to think that, oh, because there's a few there's a few laugh moments in it, it's got to be a comedy.
Yeah, but it's not. It's just what's a
It's life.
dramedy? Yeah, yeah.
And and the demographics for only Murders in the Buildings, is that for grandparents or something to watch?
No, because it has Selena Gomez in it. I think it's the demographics. They're trying to span all over the
Mhm.
demographics, but I think they're now realizing that the people who have the most money are in the younger and the older category. So
Mhm.
they kind of forget those of us in the middle. So it's going after who has the most what is it, kind of cash,
Disposable income.
disposable income. Yes.
So they forget about us because we ain't got no money.
You have no money, so we don't care about you at all.
Unless they want to steal our nostalgia stuff
Mhm.
because our parents remember watching it with us. No, we're the ones who were targeted the last time.
Hmm.
Okay. So, and then we have like the things like lead actors in a drama, of course, like you say, Shogun. And I tried watching Shogun, I have to admit, when it first came out. And I did not, it was not an easy show for me to just kind of relax into. And, though, I mean, I watch K dramas, J dramas, C dramas all the time, but I did not find Shogun to be easy just to kind of relax into. Maybe I'll give it another shot.
Well, I think what it is always everybody was always looking for the next whatever was the last whatever, and they're still looking for the next Game of Thrones. And I
Right.
think that's what it is. It's an expensive costume drama that's complex and
Hmm.
a lot of killing and stuff like that and everything. And so that's what it is. So
And
that
its
that
uniqueness that it had actual, it supposedly, it was, I didn't get to see it. It was on my list, but I just didn't get to see it. That
Right.
it was closest to historic because of the consultants they had and the team they had working on it, that it was the closest to historical
Hmm.
accuracy, even more so than the books.
hmm
The book, because a lot of the Japanese and Asian folks I talked to said yes, they paid attention to our culture when they did it. So I think it was most, from what gathering from them, it was the more sensitive version than any of the other adaptations of the story.
Yeah, I think that the first one that went way back when with Richard Chamberlain, that again, it was a white man on safari kind of story. What is it? John Carter, goes to Mars type of thing, where it is, and a lot of times very interesting that I hear a lot of Anglo men when they refer to when a lot of people of color writing. wish fulfillment. But the vast majority of their action adventure things are wish fulfillments, and that's what those things were for a large part. And
Mhm.
now you're having these same time periods, these same titles, even for these same books, but being viewed from a different perspective, or being viewed from a more 360 degree, perspective than they were originally, only from the perspective of the white male who comes as the savior. And now he said, no, we kind of really didn't need saving, unless, of course, you meant like saving us from, all that opium you dumped on us.
Mhm.
So you do something about that, maybe. But I think it's just a different perspective now, different stories being told, even within the same story. And I think that that's, a lot of what's going on. Hopefully, I thought was going on for a while. Hopefully, moving forward, that even within this system, this story that has been told in the past, that we have the opportunity to tell another story that I used to say when we listen to tales, and this is the hero and the villain, there's a person of color, in the United States, a woman, that maybe the person you think is the hero, or that is being touted as the hero, to my mind is actually a villain. And when we start telling these stories from different perspectives, it's not as easy for people as it was in the old days to decide who it is that's wearing the black hat and who's wearing the white hat. I mean, Hopalong Cassidy wore the black hat. He was a good guy. Johnny Cash, Man in Black. That's a good guy. So, also, what's the film back when we were kids? Good Guys Wear Black. That's
Mhm.
our um, perspective mindset. And so I think some of these shows, maybe that's the issue, where you have a show like with Jean Smart, and she's in this certain period in her career. Do we ever explore this period with women in that age? What is it they're going through? I'm sure there's thousands of shows through the
Mhm.
ages where we explored it from the perspective of a white male. But
Mhm.
have we done it from the perspective of, in this, it's a white female, or any female, but specifically that in her case, it's a white female's point of view in this same type of a situation. And like we talked just now about Shogun, from a different perspective, same type of story, different perspective. Do you think that possibly that has an effect on what we're seeing now coming up as being Emmy worthy? What do you think, Cranston?
I think there is, I think it may be, and this is something they'll finally figure out 5 years from now. It is the intent that is awarded more than the content. It's like they said, we wanted to make this in such a thing, and it was a lot better than some of these other things. Um, that were problematic that you should have thought of even then. I was going through one of the free channels, and they had these old Fleischer Superman
Hmm.
cartoons listed, and a lot of them were unavailable for content because they were produced during World War II,
Hmm.
and a lot of the things that they were portraying, there were some problems. And this is, I guess we can say this with historical context, but one of the cartoons was Superman breaking up an international spy ring that was trying to steal this poison gas. And it happens that the spy ring was from Japan. And so, and just because I'm old now and I can't remember exactly what the title was, but the title was a kind of a clever pun that would be really cringeworthy now, and they couldn't do. But
Hmm.
it was incorporated. It was kind of like William's line about his lineage and stuff, about how he would
Hmm.
describe his heritage. It was a title that was something close to that, and of course, at the time, it was the war, and these were the enemy, and that kind of thing was
Hmm.
okay. but you could not get away with that now.
Right.
They show little things, and I look back at it, and you don't know whether the fact is that it was so new they didn't get enough people writing in to complain about it, but they show clips of All in the Family, and some of the
Mm-hmm.
things that they had Archie saying, you really couldn't get along with that. There was
Mm-hmm.
one thing where they were trying to make him eat healthy, so he was going to go through the neighborhood to all the restaurants and just eat everything they had. And when he got to an Italian restaurant, he described it as a non-complimentary expression for anybody who was Italian. And he
Mm-hmm.
just ran off and went on to the next one. And I'm thinking, and the standards and practices people let them get away with that back then.
Mm-hmm.
So
Were
that's what.
they familiar with the term back then?
Oh,
I'm
they
sure
were
they were.
definitely familiar with this
Oh
particular
yeah.
term.
Every
Yes.
term.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to elaborate?
Yeah, we pretty much know what that term would probably be
No.
with Archie. You forget.
Either a dago or a wop.
Yeah, one of the two. And that was, but you have to figure also, consider the time that we lived, grew up in a time where people were a lot less sensitive to that,
Mhm.
the name calling, were a lot less sensitive to that, with sticks and stones,
Well,
because so many people
Penelope,
did get their broken bones.
when was the last time you heard those terms?
Ah, I haven't
You
heard of
heard,
it forever, not
you
since
heard
I've
the
been
N
Yeah.
word
down
or
here.
the N word a lot.
Yeah, you're that, because we're down here, in the southern part of the
Well, it's
United States.
it's incorporated in the music.
Which is true. But you think about, if it wasn't, how often do you think you'd hear it?
Probably about the
Well,
same.
you think?
I
I don't
don't
know.
think.
I
I
mean, the
wouldn't hear it at all, hardly.
first time somebody called me N word was when I was a grown law student in Philadelphia. You know,
Hmm.
I had never been called an N word. I mean, I got called a lot of other nasty stuff,
Hmm.
like black bastard or
Hmm.
you black son of a bitch, but I never got called the N word by any white people.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, you just don't. I don't think I would hear it hardly at all if it wasn't for music. I guess also because I don't interact with people who would be saying it, one way or the other. You know, so it's interesting when we think about that. You know, if we didn't have it in music so much, people would they use it? Would they even use it? Who's to say, right?
It gives you
But
credibility.
yeah, I guess.
Well, it normalizes it and desensitizes it. It was something when I said, okay, this is you can tell that you have really reached the get those kids off of my um, lawn
Alone,
stage.
yeah.
That I was in a convenience store, one of those ones, one of those dollar stores that they stick
Mhm.
up every 15 feet in all of the neighborhoods that only have like $1 in the Polk
Mhm.
directory to tell you where it is. And they were playing something that was like blasting it over the store loudspeak music system. And I don't know, I was out now, actually waited till somebody got back up to the register and asked them who was that they were playing and why.
Huh.
Because if you listen to it and if you took out all of the slang words for women and all of the swearing and everything, I was going to
Mhm.
ask them, what is this song actually about?
Ha!
It was just that bad. And I said, okay, when have I ever stopped somewhere to question, what the music they were playing was? But that kind of thing, if you listen to it, and it's the kind of thing, it's not so much that I had to listen to it, but they were saying things that, although I'm sure that all of your elementary and middle school kids are quite familiar
Mhm.
with all of this stuff. So it's not like they're shocked because they never heard it before. But just as a technical thing, I wouldn't want a young child to be listening to this, even if they were listening to it, without me knowing about it.
Right.
But it normalizes these things where people just show, well, it's just a song, and that
Mhm.
makes it okay, so.
Yeah. And I mean, does anybody in particular, as we go through these awards, find any one of them that they thought was a little strange? I see, of course, as you said earlier, the majority of some of these big drama awards were captured by Shogun. Outstanding lead actress in a drama series was Anna Sawai for, of course, Shogun. And the other people she was competing against were Jennifer Aniston for The Morning Show, Carrie Coon for The Gilded Age, Maya Erskine for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Imelda Staunton for The Crown, and Reese Witherspoon also for The Morning Show. Now, one of the things that we always talk about is the fact that, like here, Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, why you would put up two actresses from the same show so they split the vote. So I would say, if you're listening, don't do that to your actresses.
Mm-hmm.
If you have one that you're going to promote, say, look, this year's your year, next year is the other person's year, and don't split the vote on your people, because that's, I think, what sometimes happens on popular shows. So either Jennifer Aniston or Reese Witherspoon may have had an opportunity, but because they split the vote with regard to their own show, they probably didn't have a successful run this year. Um, Again, like I said, I only watched just a scant few shows from Shogun. Did anyone else watch it?
No,
I watched some of them.
the other
Mm.
thing I was surprised by that Mr. and Mrs. Smith got an award, because I don't know anybody who watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You didn't hear any quote unquote buzz about it once the series,
What
ran.
did they get an award for?
I think it was either was one
Got
of the.
got nominated, but I don't think it won.
No, it
Yeah,
did win. It did win
did?
something. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah.
Like direction or something.
Directing.
Somebody
Okay.
directed the episode, which is strange for the Emmys, because
Mhm.
you can have like a 10 episode series, and you have like different directors for different episodes, and so
Mhm.
they'll pick out an episode from your series and say,
Mhm.
this director deserved an Emmy because they directed this episode better than another episode, which is
Right.
really like a lot of cannibalizing.
Yeah, it is kind of rough, especially when you have, so many different directors and stuff for the entire run. So which one do you pick? Who gets picked? You know, I think that's the hard thing. At least I think so.
As my producers' friends would say, that's why they pay the producers the big bucks. Because it's the
Yeah,
producers who decide who goes up in that situation. I think the actors can decide them for themselves.
yeah.
And
Well, like I was looking here, and they have it like that standing supporting actor in a drama series. Billy Crudup got it for The Morning Show, right? But
I never watched
again,
it.
but see again. Now look at this. And the nominees for Best Supporting Actor, um, Shogun put up two people. So again, may have won, but they split the vote by putting up two actors.
Who are the rest of
But,
the nominees?
but the other one did too, right?
Who are the
Morning Show
rest?
had two as well. So they had Tadanobu Asano for Shogun, Billy Crudup for The Morning Show, Mark Duplass for The Morning Show, John Hamm for The Morning Show,
John
Takahiro
Hamm?
Hira.
You mean John Hamm
Yeah,
of Fargo?
no, for The Morning Show. Morning Show.
Oh, I think I
Takahiro
know.
Hira, yeah, for The Morning Show. Takahiro Hira for Shogun, Jack Loudon for Slow Horses, and Jonathan Price for The Crown. And so, yeah, all these people, like Shogun had one, two individuals, and The Morning Show had three. Interesting. So, what I said before about dividing up the vote, that does not hold true, because Billy Crudup won anyhow, you know?
Well, it's divided by two, right? Because you
I
have
mean,
so many
this,
multiple divisions.
right, because I mean, it's just in supporting actor in a drama that Shogun had two um, actors nominated. The Morning Show had three actors nominated, and the Slow Horses had one, and The Crown had won. So you have these two shows that are really, you know, packing them in, but they won. So my position saying that, simply because you have more actors nominated from your show will militate against you winning, well, that's out the door because they had three actors up and one of them won. So there you go. Their outstanding supporting actress in a drama, as again from The Crown, Elizabeth Debicki as Princess Diana won, and she was in the field with Christine Baranski in The Gilded Age, Nicole Beharie in The Morning Show, um, Greta Lee in The Morning Show, Leslie Manville in The Crown, Karen Pittman in The Morning Show, and Holland Taylor in The Morning Show. So basically, this is like a morning show. Um,
Category.
yeah, I mean, there's one, two,
It is
three,
people.
four morning show people, one Gilded
How many
Age,
people?
and one The Crown, or
How
two
many
The
people
Crown.
on this? How many people on this panel right now have seen the morning show?
I have never seen it, although
Don't have
my
Apple TV.
youngest sister, my youngest sister, says that this is really good. But I think that she, of course, has a bias because she was in that industry. So
She was in a morning show.
yeah, in that industry, in news, entertainment, industry.
Mhm.
So I think that she understood a lot of it more because of that. But at any rate, they again, they got all these people then, and that so many of them, but none of them won. The actress who was one of the two from The Crown won the Emmy.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
the tricky part about some of those shows is they don't know if they're going to be canceled, so they can't. If they think they're going to be canceled, they're going to put all their actors up for one last
Hmm.
big hurrah, hopefully that
Hmm.
somebody would win, and
Right.
all their good shows, put in all the best stuff so that they can go out and say, "Yeah, we ended on top,"
Yeah.
Well,
Well.
and
Mr.
then
and
they
Miss,
get renewed.
Mhm.
well, Mr. and Mrs. Smith had 16 nominations, of which they won two.
Mhm.
And the two that they won was one for Michaela Cole, one for best guest actor, and they had like 8 nominations for guest actors. And the other one they won for was for stunt coordination. And so,
Yeah. So right here, I was looking at the best outstanding guest actor in a drama series was Nestor Carbonell in Shogun, and he was up against Paul Dano for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Tracy Letts for Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, Jonathan Pryce in Slow Horses, and John Turturro for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Now understand, like this, like just like the thing with John Hamm, that excuse me, Otter was saying, oh, John Hamm for Fargo. No, John Hamm was nominated for Morning Show.
I'm
And right
surprised that he
here,
wasn't nominated for
right,
Fargo.
but he may have been in Best Actor as opposed to Best Supporting Actor. Now, Jonathan Pryce here is nominated for Slow Horses, but recall, two awards ago, he was nominated for The Crown. So let me back up. I'm going to back up, because to deal with this issue regarding John Hamm and being, nominated as Best Actor. Let me see what we have here. Back it up, back it up. Okay, lead actor in a drama series is Idris Elba for Hijack, Donald Glover for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Walton Goggins for Fallout, Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, um, Hiroyuki Sanada in Shogun, and Dominic West in The Crown. So he was
Wow.
not nominated at all
Well, there you go.
for outstanding lead actor in a drama series. And he was nominated as best supporting actor in a drama series. But was Fargo a drama or comedy?
Nothing funny. Well, I mean, you
It's
can
a
laugh at
dark,
some of the stuff,
yeah. I
but
mean, but some
it's
of the
not
things are
really.
considered dark comedy, right?
It's not the Three
I'm gonna.
Stooges.
It is not. Indeed, it is not. Let's check it out. Lead actor in a comedy series was Jeremy Allen White in The Bear, but the nominated persons were Matt Berry for What We Do in the Shadows, Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm, Steve Martin in Only Murders in the Building, Martin Short in Only Murders in the Building, and DeFaro Woon Atai in Reservation Dogs. So
Reservation Dogs is a good show.
yeah, it is very interesting because the beats are different.
Right.
It's like when you have a comedy or drama, certain beats. This is gonna happen here. Then a third of the way in, this happens, and then the other third of the way in, something else happens, and blah blah blah. But culturally, because things I guess are different, storytelling is different. The beats are different, and so you have to sit and listen and wait for the story to unfold, in the way that they have written it to unfold. So that's what I liked about it. I like being exposed to different types of writing, different methods of conveying your story. So yeah, I liked this. I liked it a lot.
I
Any,
do too.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking here and I'm trying to find. Uh, Hold on, let me get back to the categories here. I really did think that he was going to um, be
John Hamm. I
nominated.
thought he was
Or
nominated
maybe
for
this
what?
limited or anthology series. Maybe that's what it would be, right?
Oh, okay. Maybe
Let's
maybe
try.
so.
Yeah, okay. That standard limited or anthology series was Baby Reindeer that won, which we started watching but did not finish.
And
Um,
there was another thing about some of those nominees, like Slow Horses was just
mhm.
recently released on Apple. So I know it has to
uh,
be, the show has to be released by a certain date in order to be eligible or whatever. So I don't know
mhm,
if they took into the fact it was supposed to be released earlier, but
mhm.
strike held it up, so they did something else. But some of these shows, either you said, were they still eligible,
Yeah.
or should they have been eligible at all?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at this thing right here, this outstanding lead actor in a limited or anthology series or movie in 2024. Richard Gadd won for Baby Reindeer. And his competition was Matt Bomer for Fellow Travelers, John Hamm in Fargo, Tom Hollander in Feud Capote versus the Swans, and Andrew Scott and Ripley. And I got to tell you, I mean, I watched Ripley, I watched Fargo, I watched significant amount of Baby Ranger. I didn't finish, but in
Andrew
my mind,
Scott, Andrew Scott and John Hamm were
yeah,
fabulous.
far superior, far superior. I have no idea why Richard Gadd won for Baby Reindeer. No idea,
It had
It
a
was
lot of
none
buzz.
it
whatsoever.
had a lot of buzz. It was popular.
Yeah, they must have a lot of buzz, very popular, whatever. But
That's all people talked about
no,
during the summer.
no, it was not even close. He was not close to John Hammond Fargo. I mean, Andrew Scott, in all honesty,
No,
as much as I
have
love
you heard?
John Hamm,
Well,
Andrew's.
let me say this,
Mhm.
Bill. Have you heard anyone talking about? Oh, you have to watch Ripley. Have you heard anybody say that?
I did hear people say that.
You
I
heard
Yeah.
did
many
hear people
people
say
say,
Ripley was really good. And
"Wow,
I asked if you're watching Ripley. And I think that out of all, I mean, I did not see Fellow Travelers with Matt Bomer's performance, but and the Capote versus Swans, I was not going to watch that anyway. So I
no,
mean, I would have had to have been like
it sounds
petitioned by some group.
like a trick."
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I'm not interested in that.
But
Yeah.
Andrew
the
Scott
Ripley
was phenomenal in Ripley.
in Ripley, he did a better job, I think, than Matt Damon.
He did,
I think every it made the
but
film
but
pale in
he,
comparison.
yeah, but he was given more opportunity to develop the character over several episodes
That's true.
instead of
That's true.
doing it over 2 hours. So I think
That's true.
definitely did an excellent job. I thought John Hamm was he was wow, he was also quite excellent in this role. And the only reason why I say Andrew Scott and Ripley is because Fargo was certainly more of an ensemble piece, several different actors had very large roles, but in Ripley, Andrew Scott, kind of carried the film. I mean, carried the anthology, the show, the series, the limited series. Pretty much, every episode, he was almost always on screen.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, he deserved it far more than Richard Gadd. But again, this is their industry award. Who am I to say? I'm just a person that pays our hard-earned money in order to watch these things on streaming services.
Yep. That's all we do
Who am I?
every month.
Yeah, who am I?
That's why we have
So
People
Clockwork.
Choice Awards. Yeah,
yeah.
stuff like that.
So the outstanding lead actress in a limited or anthology series of movie was Jodie Foster as Detective Elizabeth Danvers in True Detective.
I
And
disagree.
I could not get through it. Okay,
I disagree with that. Yeah.
I could not get through it, and we watched the vast majority of every True Detective story that didn't have Vince Vaughn in it. So no, just
I disagree.
no. And I
I
really
disagree.
liked Jodie Foster, and I didn't find it to be compelling,
No.
in the least. I liked Brie Larson in Lessons in Chemistry better.
Yeah.
But I think of all Sofia Vergara, are you kidding me? And Griselda,
Oh my
man,
God.
she was
She was
chewing
a
up the
horror.
scenery.
She
She was
she
doing
was.
that thing.
Oh my God. She
I
was worse
mean,
than. She was worse than what's his name down there. What's that guy's name in Mexico?
Escobar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was.
What
That
a
was something else.
mean bitch.
Yeah,
She was
And
serious.
and
self-centered.
supposedly they didn't even show the worst of her crimes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she still had to be, your main character. So there, but Juno Temple from Fargo
Oh,
wore
she was
it
fantastic.
out.
She
And
did.
I cannot imagine. I mean, the only way that I can see Jodie Foster winning this is because she just happens to be Jodie Foster.
Well, also in the True Detective series, she's the only character that repeated. So they're going to say, well, she's given one for this year and for last year. So
I just
I don't
again
remember
I
it
say
last year. She was in last
here
year.
yeah,
in which
What capacity? I don't remember.
same character, same setting.
I don't remember.
actually maybe it just kind of like all melds into one thing because I started watching it and I just no. Oh, I
Like I didn't. I
tried.
didn't.
I
I didn't really.
tried.
I didn't really care too
I'm
much
going to tell
for
you
it.
the thing I think that was bad for me, that made it difficult for me to watch, was the mother-daughter dynamic in the story. I could not deal with that. They're just like, no, no, no. I just uh the entitled uh bratty kind of daughter thing. I just does not resonate with me.
Hmm.
I don't find that to be entertainment. Feeling like say pulling out my nails, with pliers or something. So no, no. The only thing that interested me was the woman who apparently is talking to the ghost. That interested me,
Hmm.
but no. I mean the Jodie Foster's character and her daughter. I was just like, I mean, is the daughter gonna die in this like quickly, immediately? Will that happen? Somebody, hit me to that. If she will be out of this show in the next 2 episodes, I am in. Because that character was insufferable. Just insufferable. I could not deal with that. Just no. No. And I hate it because they had the young woman who's a black female who was playing the role, one of the natives. I thought she was really good, but
Hmm.
it was so hard because the other two characters who spent so much time on screen were unwatchable to me, just
Hmm.
unwatchable. I just did not find anything about them that engaged me at all. And I mean, I'm going to tell you, I mean, like we started watching another show just recently, and that was the new Matlock show.
Yeah.
Have you all started watching it?
I
Not yet.
watched it just out of curiosity, and I said, they did what? So,
I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
It
we
was
watched it by
not what,
mistake.
yeah, and it was not what I thought it would be until like midway. I started thinking, huh, and then it's like, okay, all right, you got me. I'm in this now. All right, so I want to kind of follow it and see what happens. Does she solve that mystery?
well,
That's
she's
one
going
hell of a
to
mystery.
have to,
Yeah,
but I don't know whether to say that it was like a bait and switch because the cool thing about what they did was they did let you know that it was a meta enough moment that Matlock, after whom she named herself, was just a TV show and not that. And and it was really neat. It was a nice little kinds of Soze moment at the end where you found out all of the things that were going on and everything.
right.
But
I thought that was brilliant.
I
I
mhm.
did
thought
too.
it was
Otherwise,
brilliant.
otherwise, otherwise, I wouldn't
Right.
watch
I would have
the
any
show
interest
any
in it.
further because we're pointing all the things out that happens in the law firm, the kind of cases law firm take on, and the
Hmm.
dynamics in the law firm. And of course, you try to give as much latitude as possible, but a lot of it's just,
Does not square, but
incredible.
you know what? For me, that's why I couldn't watch Scandal. I
Yeah,
found Scandal to be insufferable. A
right.
lot of people loved it. Watch it. Could not. I could not watch it.
Well, that's why
They
it's
all
amazing to
watched,
me
and I love Venus
that your
Sood, who's a
sister
producer.
likes.
But
It's amazing to me that your sister likes the morning show because I couldn't watch a show like that has my profession on it because all the stuff they
mhm,
got wrong. I mean,
would drive
all
me
those shows
insane.
like that, get a little bit, you give them a little leeway. They can't get
Hmm.
everything right,
Right.
but so much wrong.
Yeah. I like the practice. That as far as legal shows
Yeah, I
go,
did. Yeah,
I like the practice because it is that. It's just so basic what you do every day. But then they even started to jump the shark, getting too much into relationships and stuff instead of the
there's
work
been no real
itself.
show that shows life in a large law firm, large, quality people think of
Yeah,
quality, but they haven't. They don't know what goes on in those places, and they can't necessarily replicate it, or maybe it's boring.
yeah.
I don't
But
know.
even you have people like what is his name, Wolf, that he obviously only spent like a little bit of time in
No, not Wolf.
in-
What's his name?
what is it?
What's the
Not
guy's
Wolf.
name?
I know you're from LA Law. What is
The
his
L.A.
name?
Law. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I can't remember his name,
He
but
spent some time in a law firm, but
some,
it
but
must have been
not
a very
enough.
small firm or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That he was
David E. Kelly.
Yeah,
Kelly. That's him,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
his uh his lawyer shows are just unwatchable.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess it's because if you really saw what lawyers did all day, every day, it's not very interesting. Not interesting at
A
all.
lot of research.
Not very interesting.
Yeah, no, not
I
Well,
none.
mean, it's. I mean, to say even research
Well,
is giving
compared
it.
to,
It
I was
just.
going
I
to say,
mean,
compared to what we know, that's the
well,
closest equivalent.
I mean, to say research is making it more exciting than it really is.
Yeah,
mhm.
it's like and if you go to if the case that I give you as a client, it
Yeah,
goes to court. I am
yeah,
not happy.
yeah,
You are
yeah,
not
and
paid. You are not paid to go to court.
yeah, you're paid to not go to court. That's the thing. Your job is to make sure that it doesn't go to court, not that it
Mhm.
does go to court. But everybody's built up. Oh boy, we're gonna go in litigation. It's like the point is to be prepared for battle so well that nobody wants to engage in, that mutually assured annihilation.
Mhm.
That's the point. To be so well prepared that neither party would leave this thing unscathed, so you resolve it.
Yeah,
That's
it's like I mangled you so badly. I cut your Achilles tendon I cut off your arm, I blinded you, I cut off both your ears, and took out your teeth.
Yep.
And so, if you're going to court, that's the way you're going.
And you're doing the same to me.
Yeah.
And who wants to go like that? I mean, the whole point is that, this is a mess. We need to find something, a resolution that we can both live with. Maybe not live with well, but we can live with.
Mhm. Well, I think what it is that I think that every occupation complains about how they're portrayed in popular entertainment. And I think what it is, it gives everybody a wrong idea about how these occupations work.
Exactly.
And I remember when they were having I don't know if it was the impeachment trial, Trump's impeachment trial, or some procedure he had, but my coworkers were complaining about, well, can't get to the end of it already and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And I kept trying to tell them that that's not exactly the way that courts work, because every court show is you get in the first half hour, the person is arrested and they said they're going to go to trial, and then when they come back from the commercial break and they don't tell you how long that is or what other cases the lawyers on both sides had going on while that was happening, the trial is up. And they think, well, it's just like that, like a week later and stuff, the trial is over, even though there are real trials in the paper at the same time. But they say, well, this person was arrested 2 years ago, and now their trial is just coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, there's so many parts to even getting ready for a trial. You got to do your motions in limine. You got to do your voir dire of a jury.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole bunch of other things, because you may have a whole wide world of things that you could put in before the court when you get to trial. By the time you get to trial, the things that you can use and say have been narrowed to such a degree that you don't get to say and put into evidence all the things that you thought you at the beginning that you could. And
Right.
and in the meantime, you have one eye, and I cut off both your ears, and I cut your Achilles, and I broke your knee, and I broke your kneecap.
Yeah. We were all rolling in the mud.
Yeah. Come down here with us.
Come roll in the mud with us.
Come
The outstanding directing went to Ripley, though, so that's a good thing.
I thought it was
did a beautiful job visually too.
I did, yeah.
And I can't understand that outstanding writing for limited or anthology went to Baby Reindeer. I don't get that either. Not against Fargo. Not against Fargo or Ripley. No.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that just surprised me was I was looking at all the in the category for best hair and makeup, or whatever it is, makeup design. And there are two categories for that. There's a makeup design, and then there's a prosthetic makeup design. And Shogun won for both of those. And so I'm looking at that and everything, and I'm thinking and I'm saying, okay, well, the category is fantasy and science fiction. So I guess, could you say that Shogun was a fantasy or what, or whatever? But I'm thinking, how come none of the shows that were actual science fiction shows weren't even nominated or mentioned for anything they were doing?
I thought it was a drama.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So, which categories are we talking about? Science fiction.
It's hair and makeup. There was hair and makeup. There was costume. There was cinematography, visual effects, special effects, and all of this.
And none of the science fiction.
No.
Nothing science fiction fantasy was nominated.
Nothing else was nominated. I mean, I was trying to figure out, well, which one of those did Shogun? I could see if it was historical drama or something like that. Yeah, but no. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking the two things. One, that and they also won the category for musical score or something like that, original musical score. Mm-hmm. And I would have thought the what became a fan favorite last year, the episode on Strange New World, Subspace Rhapsody, because they wrote music for the whole episode, didn't even get mentioned, much less nominated. So
Wow.
And again, some of that to me is whether or not your showrunners or whoever your producers are putting the push behind you.
Right.
yeah,
The show,
Yeah,
the show has to. I think the show, the producers put the nominations for those. I think it's only actors who get to put themselves up.
yeah, and it's kind of sad if gone through all that trouble and your producers don't put you out there or they forget to put you out for it. And sometimes maybe you should mention, by the way, are we going to be getting your support, in
mhm,
marketing for this award? And they may say, we aren't making that much money. We're
yeah.
not
Well,
gonna.
and you
Well,
don't,
I was going to say the Paramount's. How many Paramount shows were nominated? Because this was in the middle of this season. Did fall in the middle of all that controversy and hoopla they were having about the sale and mergers. So there,
So
and a lot
yeah,
of shows were being consumed with which studio, because they combined studios and killed some shows. So they might have gotten lost in all that shuffle on
it's
Paramount's side.
possible. It's
yeah.
possible.
I thought about that. Could be it too, but but at the same time, if you won a couple of things and stuff, or you were nominated at least, that would kind of help it look better for the
Right.
prospects of
Right.
being brought up. And in the past, there have been times when they've had episodes of shows that were nominated, even though they never won. But
Hmm.
this time, not even a nomination, not even a mention. So
Well, it could, or they didn't get it because it's in the prelim votes, and then the top five
Hmm.
or whatever get to go on to the masses to be voted upon. I can't remember what the
I'm not
procedure is
certain.
for eliminating.
yeah, but they got shut out so harshly and stuff. It was like deliberate. Said, yeah, I'll get you. So
That
Wow.
is
So,
weird.
but you all could be right that it had something to do with what was going on with the studios themselves, and who is
Yeah,
going to
it would
be.
fascinated to see how many Paramount shows were actually made the cut.
Hmm.
If or if the studio says no, we don't want anything going on because we don't want to tip it any which way for any prospective buyers, which makes absolutely
Or
no
or
logical
it could
business
be,
sense.
well, we fired the people who it was that normally would do this, so it fell through the cracks.
yeah.
Yeah,
It just
people who
something that fell
usually
through the cracks.
go to the producers and say, "What do you got?"
Yeah, that those people are gone, so nobody thought to do it, and
But
that
one thing
happens
that
too.
I thought was really funny, and I said somewhere in 30 Rock, Lauren Michaels has to have a picture of John Oliver with a big bullseye in the middle of it because they won. I think, and it's like there was only two of them in the
Yeah, it
category.
was just
John
them.
Yes,
Oliver
Yeah.
they
won
created a
two.
special category and moved John Oliver in it because he was always beating the late night show
Hmm.
hosts.
Mm-hmm.
And
And he
that's
only does one
something.
show a week. And all the late
That's
night
not
show hosts
fair.
they do 5 shows a week.
Oh, that's why they moved him out and put him in
Yeah,
with Saturday Night Live.
And he
And
still
he
yeah,
won.
whooped their ass.
yep. I mean, well, I mean, I can understand that though. I do understand that they're having to turn it out every day, and he gets to turn it out every week. So, especially editing and stuff is a lot different. So, but
Yeah, well,
still prevailed in his
yeah, but
category.
I'm not a late night talk show fan, but I read stuff the day following it, and it seems to me that Jimmy Kimmel is killing it as far as opinions on the election
Mhm.
and just popular culture in general. I was never a Kimmel fan ever since he did that thing called the Man Show. I always hated
Ha!
that. I always hated that garbage. But him and his writers are doing an excellent job.
Hmm.
I do stay up occasionally and watch the Tonight Show and what the late shows, and what I don't watch, I try to catch on YouTube. Colbert's right up there battling it with him. I think either one of they should have won, but of course they had to congratulate Jon Stewart for coming back for one day of work, a night work. I think he was
Hmm.
still producing, but um, I find it fascinating that he comes right back and he goes right back into the winning season
Yeah,
that he
that's a little
has.
much. He only shows up one day a week too. But
Hmm.
but the Daily Show writing,
Hmm.
it's been more juvenile than in the past. But they still ask a lot of pointed questions.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
that the journalists who are supposed to be
Hmm.
doing their job are not doing. They're not doing it. And John Oliver is the one that exposed that Israel was giving money to Hezbollah to support it against the Palestinian Authority, which was a much more moderate
Moderate,
authority, in order
because they
to
didn't want
undermine
to
them.
have, yeah, the
And he
moderate.
also was a show that
Hmm.
showed the kind of treatment that Palestinians were receiving from Israelis. It seemed like
Hmm.
there's a part of the West Bank where Israelis live above the Palestinians, and they continue to throw stuff down there, and
Mhm.
it's
Garbage and
yeah, it's unsustainable. And
yeah,
I
it's
don't
horrific.
understand why human beings would treat other human beings like that. But you know what? The John Oliver stories, they should never been on his show. It should have been on the news.
Yeah, and they won't put on the news until after he breaks it. And oh yeah, yeah, we saw that. Oh yeah, we saw that too. Oh yeah, we got that. We were just researching that,
Mhm.
and it is ridiculous that you have to find your world news on comedy shows.
Yeah.
You know, it's really rather sad. But I mean, we've been talking about this, going back and forth with our Emmys, and I realized, wow, our time has elapsed. So, wow,
So,
any particular award for the Emmys, or any issue, actor, a show,
Well, one thing I
director
did like
that you
though,
want to call out?
Penelope, what I
Mhm.
liked is that you know, of course, everything now is in color, and
Mhm.
Ripley had the chance to be in color, but they decided to be in black and white, and I think that choice really helped their storytelling.
The atmospheric issues of black and white,
Yeah, it really,
really, and it put
yeah,
you into the time period, I think, a little bit better.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and so that kind of thoughtfulness that goes into it, that is
Mhm.
that a good series, a good movie, a good show,
Mhm.
is multifaceted. It's not one thing, but many things.
Right. Agreed. Agreed. How about you
so
all? Is there anything you didn't see, or something that you saw that you thought shouldn't have been there, or Sonya, you get ready to say something?
now I was gonna say, it seems like every year the Emmys never quite live up to our expectations, but it does bring up interesting conversation like ours.
Mhm.
So, and perhaps the industry's finally listening that it's people talking that they need more
Mhm.
rather than the viewers who are watching it at the moment.
Right. Agreed. More discussion about what we saw
Uh
than
huh.
just, okay, I saw that. What did you
Right.
see? You know,
So
and
it
I
looks
think at
like they're
one
trying to
point,
do more thoughtful stuff.
yeah, I know at one point I remember, like, we used to watch back in the day Mad Men, and this is like binge versus waiting out the week.
Mhm.
I liked waiting out the week because I like to wait until the people talked about the episode online on different forums, then to discuss it, after we saw it, say, well, I didn't see that, or I
Mhm.
didn't understand it to mean that. Well, wait a minute,
Mhm.
to see how that meshes with what's coming, down the pike, or what we had seen earlier. So I enjoyed listening to, seeing, reading other people's views of what it was that we had watched. And I certain shows I like that that space in between. Other
Mhm.
things, you like to just gobble it down, and just eat it all at once. But I think, that, having time to absorb it, to
The
discuss.
water cooler moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Back
I
when we
mean,
had water coolers.
Mhm.
yeah, but now we have like worldwide water coolers because we can do it
Yes.
online, and so I
Hmm.
like that, the ability to discuss it, back in the like we did back in those days. And I wonder, for the perspective of writers, producers, etc., did they, go into those forums, listen to what people were saying, did it inform, on the way that uh, they developed characters, plots, thereafter. So that would be a good thing to find out. That's
There was one that did happen with Westworld,
mm,
that they had such an active and much more thoughtful files and everything until they did begin to figure out plot points that they went back and changed just because somebody else had figured it out. So yeah, there are people who do pay attention to the message boards and everything, and
mhm.
they do try to be mindful of things that are going on and don't exactly change things just for purely fan service or something,
Mhm.
So that does
Yeah.
happen. And also, it is good to see that there are showrunners and producers and all these other people who are trying to make something that challenges their audience, and the people
Mhm.
who actually are fans of what they're doing, and therefore they will make something a little more meaningful that way.
Right.
And hopefully, now that all the strikes are over, we're hoping and everything that things will get back to normal. Because this was a confusing one: who was eligible for what, when, and
Hmm.
hopefully things will get back to normal. And so next year
Mhm.
it'll be a little more sensible or whatever.
Good. I hope
Well,
so too.
the question comes down
Mhm.
to should award shows exist? Should people? I mean, should there be competition among did John Hamm do a better job in his role, or did Andrew what's his name, Andrew Sullivan, Andrew,
Mhm.
did he do a good job, better job in his role? Is that a real competition?
Well, I mean, again, the issue is, what we said before regarding the Oscars. These are industry awards, and certainly these are people within the industry who are, patting each other on the back, saying, what it was that they, as industry insiders, think is good work, what they'd like to
Hmm.
see more of, maybe for themselves. I don't know. So I would say, whether or
Or
not
this
they
is
should
what we
have them is
want.
certainly not our. It's not for us to say,
Or this is
but
what we
that's
want to
their
be
industry award.
remembered for. When they look back in history, this is what we want them to remember we were paying close attention to.
So, babe, that's right. Baby Reindeer wins out over Fargo and
Good
Ripley.
things. It was over good. It was over actual good work.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Well,
really
that's
positive
because
thing.
the people who are voting can be just as superficial as the people at home watching things and saying, well, this is good because this person does this, and that's why I like what they did there. So
Hmm.
there are a lot of things I was surprised that I don't know when they would have been eligible that they weren't, but they didn't show up even being nominated for anything, because I thought with
Like
all of
who?
the
Like, well, which
well,
ones do you think should
well,
have
like
been there?
well, first of all, I was pleased and surprised when What We Do in the Shadows came up being nominated, because I was
Yeah.
thinking that was
Yeah.
such a niche thing, nobody was paying attention to it. I thought that Abbott had a second second season that was as good as the first one, and they seemed to
Hmm.
got shut out completely.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
all
I
of
was
the
surprised because it was so good.
and with all of the hype around the last season of Young Sheldon, it got shut out too. So
I have never watched it. Never had any desire to watch it. If there was like 100 shows that I had to watch, that one would probably be like number 100. So it's
it was
probably one of
Hundred and
those.
one.
101. Yeah.
it was not a it was probably nothing that would be in the like top 10 Hall of Fame, but it wasn't a bad show.
But I guess the problem in my mind is like you have this show and it's called Young Sheldon, right? Who
Hmm.
is your audience?
The people who watched the show it spun off from.
Right. Now, the people who are going to watch that, I mean, and I'm an adult, I don't know how interested I am in watching a show about a kid going to school unless it's Malcolm and Malcolm in the Middle.
Well,
But
you
again,
did Wonder Years,
yeah. But that is also, again, parents, kids, and a lot of parents involved in it too.
which
And a
also
child
didn't get
watching, part
any.
of his wonder years of watching his parents, I thought was good.
Well, a
Which
lot
al-
of things with Big Bang Theory is people was like, what happened to Sheldon that made him the way he is? So that was why it was interesting watching young Sheldon to see what formed
So there we go.
the
Hmm.
character. And so
But
now
I would have had to think that Big Bang Theory was interesting in order to watch that. I get it.
well, actually,
Didn't
what
I
find
had
it
lived
happened,
it.
interesting at all.
well, what
I
had
lived
happened
it.
was that
I did
the
not think it
thing
was
that
interesting at all.
the people
I
that
lived
watch,
Malcolm in the Middle, so that's why I think
yeah.
I like that show so much.
Well,
That's
the
it.
interesting
Reminds
thing
me of
about
growing
Young
up.
Sheldon was because they had to retcon so much of what was going on to make it all fit. It confused people that watched The Big Bang Theory, and they had to try to jump over all sorts of hoops to explain why something that had been established in one show did not show up
Mm,
in the other one. Because Young Sheldon was really more like just average, everyday, conventional sitcom as opposed to the other one. And the two shows were like totally kind of different. And,
wow.
Well, it was an easier because that Sheldon wasn't a reliable narrator.
yeah.
Is how they got her, and that actually made it more interesting because you're realizing that you're watching him remember how things happened, not necessarily how it happened.
Hmm. It's like
So,
Megamind.
which will be interesting now because everybody always asked because they he mentioned his brother and you saw his brother once or twice on the show. So now the new spinoff is following his brother. So that's going to be weird. Let me just put it that way.
Tortuous. Tortuous. I don't know.
Oh, the actables are not, well love are likable enough. I just don't know if they're likable enough.
I guess it's just like when you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer and then Angel gets a show. You're like, man, Angel's get a show? And so, oh
Yeah,
man, Angel's show is better than Buffy. So,
but then you hear about all the stuff that went on behind the scenes, and you're like, well,
no, I'm like, Angel was better than
no,
Buffy.
Mhm.
I'm saying all the things that happened behind the scenes of Angel too.
Didn't
So
know. I would watch the show. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I watched the show. So I
more of
liked
the
it.
stuff that happened the behind the scenes of of Buffy, but more concentrated.
Mm.
They had one target on Angel, whereas on Buffy they had several targets
Well, I
for
know
all the
that,
nasty
they had
stuff.
issues with, Joss Whedon always had issues with some of the young women
Yeah,
on the show, but still liked the Buffy show and
and he
still
was
liked it
also
more.
horrible. Angel was
Yes.
really really good
Yeah.
until Wheaton started sticking his nose in it.
Yes, his nose in it. Just, let David Greenwald do the doggone show and stay away. Which is why Grimm was so good. You
Yeah,
But that's
because
know?
he
the other
doesn't.
thing that gets to be interesting when you found out that they managed to put on a show despite all the other
yeah.
drama that was going on. So,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, again, we're at the end of our time. And before we go, is there anything else you all wanted to, into the show, you wanted to give a shout out saying this show should have made this actor, these individuals,
mhm.
producers should have been mentioned or won, or as far as the Emmys are concerned.
Yeah, I think Abbott was robbed this year, but
Hmm.
that's just me.
Me too. I absolutely believe they were robbed. Also, Fargo, with many
Yeah.
of the performances, was robbed. Andrew Scott with Ripley, I think, did such a wonderful. But John Hamm also with Fargo, what a great performance. Juno Temple, absolutely from Fargo, should have gotten the nod. Just lovely work. I don't even think for supporting actors that oh, what is her name? Uh in Fargo played as the mother, um as Nadine's mother-in-law. Uh she also was quite good, and just a lot of performances within the that whole thing were quite good. So I know the young man who got the best supporting from Fargo, who played the police.
Yeah, he
The
got an award.
Yeah, but you know what I'm gonna say? Of all the people from Fargo, I think he was the least deserving of the nominees. I'm glad that he got it, but I thought the others were so much more deserving because this time on screen, as compared with some of the other ones, was relatively short. So I think he had like four
Yeah, but he's in the first episode
scenes.
throughout.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, but I mean, I guess also because I was kind of mad at him, for what happened to him. It's like, come on, you know,
Mm.
you was. I don't know. Did you all get to see it yet? You see the Fargo?
Mm.
Uh,
I'm just
Well,
kind
that's
of
the other thing is Tommy says, okay, well, what was I watching all last year and stuff? Because I
yeah.
missed virtually everything that
yeah.
won everything.
It was very well done. It's one of those things where you got to be able to stomach a lot of cruelty to get through this past year's Fargo. But it's very well done, very well done. The subtext, very well done. So when you have an opportunity, I would say definitely
Mm.
watch Fargo. If you have not watched it, roll back the tape and watch. I think you enjoy. I mean, after understanding the type of show that Fargo is,
Hmm.
but you will very well done. And Ripley also, very. It's a lot of violence in it. Um, Kind of hard in that way, but very well done. Just very very well done. The actors all put in such good performances that you were never out of the story. You're always in the story. So they did a really good job. Any other shows? Anybody else want to
Well, now
mention?
that Cranston mentioned it, I was shocked that the Star Trek musical episode didn't get nominated,
Hmm.
especially when they had just lauded WandaVision for all their original music,
Hmm.
Mm,
and which I
okay.
thought putting on a musical using the basis that they used for it would have been is a much harder task.
Mm, all right. So that should have gotten a mention.
Yeah.
So all right. Otto, anything?
Well, I think the actor who is the love interest for Quinta Brunson got elbowed out.
Yeah, he did not get. He got really short shrift. I agree. What is his
Hmm.
name? The one who's for Everybody Hates Chris, the
Chris,
young
yeah.
man. Yeah, he was so good, and the end of the season was so very satisfying. I was so proud of the work they had done. It
Hmm.
was, just wonderful, and I think that it would be. I just I can't understand why he didn't get a nomination. He should have. He wasn't even nominated, and he absolutely deserved it. All right.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
And also this evening, Sven, Sven Gulli is having a double feature, and then up until like 4 o'clock in the morning is a marathon of Sven tunes. I have no idea what that's going to be, but I'm looking. I
We're
want to
gonna
watch it.
watch it. We're gonna watch it. All right. So thank you all for joining us this evening in the Otherhood. We'll be back again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Take care of yourselves. Have a very productive week. A wonderful remainder of your weekend. And good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.